everyone. Welcome back to the Bro Force Squad podcast, guys. This is it. This is our Season 1 finale review of the HBO hit show, Westworld. I am your host, Jeff Hornacek. Alongside me, my two partners in crime today, Alex English and the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Guys, wow. It's over. Season 1 is over. We did it.
Fuck!
We made it through. Let's just get our fresh and raw reactions. English, let's start with you, since you can literally not contain the words coming out of your mouth. What are your thoughts now that it's over, now that we've trekked through it?
I'm just so bummed it's over. What am I going to do on Sunday nights now?
Now that we have to pay attention to our girlfriends, wives, and friends on Sundays?
Nah, that's not. I'm going to have to watch some reruns or old.
I'm going to go watch Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Oh, God, I'd rather... Not a fake vomit. He actually did it on pod. Oh, my gosh. So you were... English, before we dive too into it throughout the show, were you pleased? What are your initial reactions now that we've had a couple days to kind of let it marinate?
Yeah, my initial reaction was that I was just so impressed with the sheer size of what they took on, right, for a TV show. I don't think we've ever seen anything even come close to this kind of production, unless you count, of course, Game of Thrones. That would probably be the only comparable thing.
Right.
But there's a reason it's going to be 2 years before we see a second season, because it takes a fucking long time to put a show like this together. Overall, with the finale, I was satisfied. There were some loose ends and some things that didn't really fit for me, and we can go into that later. But it didn't take away from my satisfaction with the 90-minute finale.
Yeah,
it did not feel like 90 minutes to me. I enjoyed every minute.
That is always the greatest compliment when you watch something and say, wow, it did not feel near as long as it was. Because we've all seen, a show or a movie that feels 4 times as long as it actually is, and it's pretty...
You pull up the progress bar every 5 minutes, you're like, fuck!
My God, how?
It's like when you watch a YouTube video and you're just trying to figure out how to do something, and they just fucking talk for 7 minutes, and you need to get to, minute 6... and it just never gets there.
Yeah, but it's an important
waiting
step.
For the microwave clock.
Westworld was the complete opposite of that.
So, Banner, what were your thoughts then on the finale? I know we've been able to have you chime in a little bit throughout the reviews we've done of the season, and it seems like you were kind of apprehensive at first. They kind of hooked you. Maybe they kind of started to lose you again. But how did you end up after season 1?
At the end, I ended up enjoying it thoroughly. Like you said, the beginning, first 4.5 episodes, I was kind of on the fringe, it's good, but it's not great. Episodes 5 through 8 were the best 3 or 4 episodes in TV history, I think. They were fantastic.
Wow.
Towards the end, they started wearing off, and I think part of that is because the internet is freaks, and we figured most of it out.
Yeah.
And then we had the comments that Jimmy Simpson came out and said, the season will end. It's not going to be a big cliffhanger, but they set up a season 2. That worried me a lot. That, hey, this is fantastic. We know, a month and a half into the show that it got picked up for a second season,
right.
But yet they're not going to leave us on this big cliffhanger. How are they going to do that? And then, like English said, 90 minutes, they answered a lot of the questions I needed. They gave me just enough questions for me to want to come back, and I'm fucking pissed that I have to wait to 2018 to see this. Because I'm glad, because that means they're not going to rush it and they're actually going to do a good job, but I'm really upset because how am I going to go 18 months without any Westworld?
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I echo a lot of those sentiments. I think as English and I sort of started to break things down throughout the show, we realized that in this day and age, with the Reddits and the IMDb's of the world out there, the internet is going to be all over shows like this, where there's twists and turns to be had, and a lot of things that are seemingly subtext, but actually end up having large roles to play at the end of the show. And so I was partially disappointed the first time I saw the season 1 finale, because I was like, damn it, the internet guessed like almost everything. But then I realized that that's our own fault, you know?
Yeah,
It was
we were like to blame for that too. We're part of it.
Absolutely,
We are 100%.
we are gasoline on that fire. So
what I and this is kind of how I gauged it. There are some people that I work with and some other people that I talk to that my wife works with who aren't balls deep in the internet discussions like we are. They don't do a podcast and they're not sick freaks every week and talk about it like we do. When we found out Bernard was a robot, they flipped their fucking shit.
Yeah.
They had no idea. Here in the last episode when William picks up the black hat and and they officially say the man in black is William, they were like, oh my God, I did not put 2 and 2 together. They had no idea. They figured out the multiple timelines, but they had no idea that they were the same character. And I was like, really? We figured that shit out like episode 4.
Well, what I always like to do when people like that are having a discussion, and obviously the theory of William and the Man in Black was not something I came up with. I heard it from Alex, who I think read it on the internet. But I like to walk up to them and pass off that theory as my own. Unbeknownst to them, they just think I'm a genius. Ipso facto.
Speaking of genius, how awesome is Nolan? It took how many millions of people on the internet weeks to figure this storyline out? And he came up with it, and it's like, nope, this is how I'm doing it. He's one person, and we're however many people. Like, kudos to you, bro.
Although, I do want to say something in regards to that, and we already touched on the William was the Man in Black. The way they presented that in the finale, don't you guys think, and Lisa Joy, his wife and also co-creator, did say that, you know, they knew that this show was going to be consumed in this fashion, because other shows of this like Lost and Game of Thrones, like these shows just are consumed in this fashion. People just love theorizing about them, and Reddit goes crazy. So they were like, we knew people were going to follow it like this. I don't think they knew that theory was going to be solved by episode 2.
Yeah, literally William's first appearance, right?
Presented was very like grandiose and
Let me ask you this, English, if they could go back, do you think one thing they could have taken, I mean, we still would have guessed it, but it would have taken a little while longer. If they didn't give William the option when he was first entering Westworld to choose his hat, maybe that would have helped, because I think that was the first time people really got tipped off.
And the logo thing, which I still go back to because, again, they originally shot it with the actual Westworld logo, and then they went back and digitally added the old version of the logo when the HBO execs were like, this is too confusing, we probably need to give the audience something to tie onto.
Right.
Because people have actually solved the fact that the old logo was digitally imposed in certain scenes.
That's absurd. People are fucking sick.
The internet's disgusting, I'm afraid. And I have a bunker that I'm going to go under after we're done with this.
Yeah. Here's something that I wanted to ask you guys. And this is not in our show notes, so I've been drinking a lot tonight. Honestly, what was the biggest surprise for you guys for the season finale, or even just the season in general? And then I'll tell you mine. What was kind of the biggest, oh shit, I didn't see that coming, or if you did see it coming, you were still surprised once it happened?
All right.
English, you want to go? Yeah, you go.
Yeah, this might be kind of geeky, I don't know, but I actually thought the whole theory of the maze and how it's actually referring to their consciousness and it's not like an actual physical thing, I didn't guess that at all. I didn't read it anywhere on the internet.
And I love that too. I really liked that.
Yeah, I found it fascinating. I mean, the way Bernard explained it and just exposition dump was not the best way to do it, but that's the only way you
I'm not smart enough if they would have done it any other way to figure it out, because I'm still 80% on understanding it, and he literally told me what it was.
Right.
The coolest.
But I thought that was really cool, and that was my favorite thing that I hadn't seen anywhere on the internet, and I was just like, whoa, that's awesome. That's an amazing theory.
Yeah, I really, really like that. And if anyone says they guessed that, then they're either crazy or
they're full
lying.
of horse shit.
Yeah. The thing that I really liked, and it wasn't even a big part of the episode, but we had all kind of speculated that, this would be really cool, was the showing us that there are other worlds out there. Like when they saw Samurai World or Shanghai World, whatever that SW stands for.
We'll get to that later.
What?
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, that was a really cool part for me, and we'll obviously like you said, touch on what that could mean for season 2. Now, before we get into our questions,
I want to tell you mine.
Okay.
What the fuck, Hornacek?
What if I was going to say, before we get into our questions, let's let Banner answer. But you...
When the drunk guy starts correcting the host, we're in trouble.
Yeah. And I know this was speculated, but the way that they portrayed this, I loved the fact that Dolores was Wyatt. I thought that was really cool, and how Teddy, when he remembered it as being this guy, not being Dolores. That was kind of a twist that I really liked, and how she just goes all fucking batshit crazy and turns into Wyatt. And I hope in the next season, fuck Dolores, we don't get her anymore. We only get crazy Wyatt.
By the way, let's all pour out a beer for James Marsden, who didn't get much this season. Didn't get a lot to work with.
He had a lot of screen time, but like nothing to do.
It's like die, look shocked.
Yeah. Be
cry,
confused, be confused, die again.
Get a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
Die some more.
I think he'll have a big role in the next season, though.
I would agree with that.
I hope so. I hope he can complete the maze and become James Marsden. And then that's how he gets his audition for Cyclops. He completes the maze and then goes to Fox Studios.
Oh, okay. So, moving on from that, speaking of X-Men, what the fuck happened to Logan?
Well, sorry, real quick. Before we get into our 6 questions, and that was a great segue.
Are you kidding me? That was the best transition we've had.
I have a huge statement that I just need to say and get off my chest about this show. I think that this
Do you need help? You need help with to get it off your chest?
A little bit, yeah.
Alex, you get the left side, I'll get the right side.
I want this one to be all me, guys, this rep, okay? And even if you help, just lie to me and say that it was all me. It's fucking all you.
Right.
I think this was the best performance of Anthony Hopkins' career. And I understand that it's going up against a lot, but to me, he not only channeled Hannibal Lecter again, but we got to see it for 10 hours, which was incredible and that much better. And he played Hannibal Lecter in a way where, now maybe there's some crazy people out there who like root for Hannibal Lecter and hope that like he gets to eat the guy in the end of any of the 3 Hannibal movies. But in the way that Robert Ford, you ultimately end up seeing his arc and what his character was about, I think it was just incredible the way that it came full circle. He was actually helping further what Arnold wanted to do with the park.
He was a good guy.
Really was. And
for people, he's really not a good guy to people, because he's basically like, we need to wipe the human race off the face of the earth.
Right.
Or
is that what he wanted to do, or just the Delos board?
I don't know. I mean, this is going to come up in our questions, so I don't want to say anything, but that's a teaser for the audience out there. I don't know if you guys know. That's a little tease.
I'm frozen.
I can't disagree with your statement of this was the best Anthony Hopkins we've ever seen. I don't know that I'm going to agree, but I definitely can't disagree.
I would be curious to see, like, I wonder if you take his entire screen time in The Silence of the Lambs and you time it out, and then you take all of his screen time over these 10 episodes, how much of him we actually saw. Like, how much more did we see in Westworld Season 1 versus what we saw of him in Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah, it was a lot more in the latter 5 episodes than the first 5.
Oh, so yeah, sure.
That would be kind of interesting.
And by the way, go rewatch Silence of the Lambs sometimes. It has aged well, because it's just like, investigating a murderer in... There's no like crazy special effects, but like it's still fantastic, and his performance is so like freaky and chilling. I rewatched it and it freaked me out. I had to go pick flowers and I don't know, play with a beach ball for a while to
just
get
like
right
see
again.
The outside world, no human interaction again.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So we took the liberty of writing 6 questions that we had after seeing the finale. Most of them pertain to this season and what we were thinking took place or may have took place at the end of the season, and then a couple of them have to do with Season 2, which I know everyone is very excited about. So, first question, what the fuck happened to Logan after he was stripped down naked, not a metaphor, literally done so, and then sent on a wild horse strolling through Westworld. Do you guys have any theories on what happened to him? Not only then, but like how that played into the future of maybe the Man in Black's life, knowing he was marrying his sister.
Mm-hmm.
Banner?
I don't think this is the last that we're going to see of Logan. Now it's not going to be Logan in that form. It's going to be an older Logan. Maybe not quite as old as the Man in Black, but some interim form. And I think that, I don't know what happened to him. To answer your original question, I have no fucking clue. William went psycho and sent him off naked on this nice little joyride. I mean, he was asking for it all season. Let's be honest with himself, or with ourselves.
He was begging
Not himself,
for it.
Ourselves. But I think that we're going to see some form of him moving forward, mainly because William makes a comment to him that says, our company is going to invest in this. I'm going to talk to your dad. So it's obviously some sort of family thing. That's how the Man in Black, a.k.a. William, gets involved so far and ends up on the board of Westworld. And I think that Logan will play a part in the development of that, if that's a route that they choose to go.
How do you guys feel about casting Richard Gere as old Logan?
Wow. I like it
Right?
a lot. I really like it.
Right?
Yeah,
Ed
I
Harris,
can get
Richard
behind that.
Gere?
I can get behind that.
And he comes
All right.
in. So, English, what do you think then? Do you I'm assuming he probably lives. Like, there's no way he dies. I mean, I guess there's a way he dies from that, but I don't think he dies. But
Yeah, you
Sunburn.
would think if the two of them come back from their Westworld crazy staycation / bachelor party and like, oh, sorry, honey, but like your brother just kind of fucking died in the park. All right, let's get married. Like that probably
love
wouldn't
you.
work.
How do you even come back and say, oh, hey, your future husband just sent me naked on a horse down a fucking hill after he killed 1 billion robots?
You're like, hey,
How
what
do you
happens
be
in
like,
Vegas
hey,
stays
you really
in
should
Vegas.
marry this guy.
Yeah.
So I thought that was the scene that probably didn't work for me the most out of everything that we saw in the finale, and that's just because it didn't make a lot of sense, right? I mean, I think we're supposed to believe that by doing what William did, he's making Logan seem like kind of this deranged, not really suitable person to lead the Delos Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And with him being an assistant vice president, maybe that means he's directly under him, right? So maybe like Logan is the VP, he's the AVP, and then like Logan's old dad who's about to die is the president, and he's going to leave the company to Logan. We don't really know anything about how that dynamic works, but what I'm thinking is maybe by doing what he did, maybe Logan, like the horse takes him back into town, and all of a sudden, like, here's this guy, you know, on a horse riding back naked with a feather in his hair, like, maybe not the best thing to do, and maybe he's not a very sane human being, so we're not going to trust him from this point forward. Therefore, William can step in and kind of take over as, like, the more sane and qualified individual. That was kind of my take, but I mean, that was a stretch to come to that take, because we're having to assume a lot of things are going to happen. They don't really go into details about what is happening, and that bugged me.
And that lets you know how fucked up Logan is, that the Man in Black is like the more level-headed of the two of them. Like, you know, we feel comfortable giving this guy the keys to the castle. He didn't just murder an entire town of robots for fun.
It really
but
was.
let's look at this on the other side, though. Doesn't Westworld bring out the worst or the best in people? And it may bring out the best in some, but it brings out the worst in others. And maybe it brings out the worst in Logan, but it brings out the best in William.
Although, I did find it hilarious. That's a really good point, Banner, and I would agree with that. Maybe that's also part of, like, William's thinking, is, like, look what the world did to this guy. Is that who you want leading this billion-dollar corporation, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I did think it was hilarious how, like, over the last 2 episodes, from the moment we saw Logan again until he rode off on a horse, how he kind of became, like, the voice of reason.
Yeah.
He was, on multiple occasions, was like, bro, what the fuck, bro? No, why are you doing this? We're just chilling here. We're having fun. And
I
William's
wanted
like,
man
"No,
mosas and to lay down. That was pretty much it.
Right, and William's like, no, I have to find out about Dolores. Like, no, you don't. She's literally a toy. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, I found that really entertaining.
I think, and we talked about this in one of the previous episodes, the longer the show went on, the more I kind of did side with Logan. Like, William was being an asshole.
Right. Logan was just like a bro. He's like, oh, man, we're going to have a blast. And William got all serious and made it weird for everybody. Come on, man.
He was that guy. Yeah, and in my estimation, pretty much both of what you guys said. Logan rides back into town. They go back. Yeah, William uses his cunning and his suave, behavior and being much more under control than Logan to get his dad to give him the fucking company and basically saves Westworld. Second question I have, unrelated to those two, but they didn't show this at all in the finale, and I think it was still kind of one of the bigger unanswered questions. Did Peter Abernathy, who of course is the host, who originally was Dolores' dad, then went batshit crazy, then Charlotte used him as the drug mule of sorts to sneak out all of the IP that Robert Ford had created from Westworld. Did he make it out of the park? Now, I'll go first on this one. I am assuming that he is part of the host army that they put together. I could be wrong, but when the British guy went, I can't remember his name, something Wood, Smallwood,
Sebastian?
Titswood?
No, it's Tom Sizemore.
One off. When he opens,
I'm going to call him Sebastian.
When he opens that garage door, which is one of my favorite moments of the finale, when he's like, "Oh shit," when he realizes that none of the hosts are there. I was assuming
he literally got shit on every time he was in the show.
Yeah,
I'm really disappointed he didn't die.
I'm shocked he didn't die.
But I really thought.
But when he went there and opened the garage door, I was assuming that was when he was going to get Abernathy out of the park. What did you guys think? English, what were your take on that?
Yeah, well, remember, he's at the party just kind of chilling, enjoying cocktails, trying to, flirt with Tessa Thompson, and she's like, shouldn't you be doing something more interesting right now, since everybody's kind of not paying attention and they're all here enjoying
being alive?
Wonderful. Yeah. And so he's like, oh, shit, you're right. So he walks away. My interpretation of that was that Robert Ford released all of the, hosts that were sitting. And those, again, were all the hosts that were bugging out. If you remember Teresa in the first episode, she's like, there's a lot of hosts bugging out. We're retiring all of them.
Yeah.
Because this isn't safe. So
Teresa.
What I kind of came to understand over the course of the season, when a host is quote-unquote bugging out, that means they're getting closer to achieving consciousness because of that reverie code.
Yep.
That is helping them to get there. So those are the people that Robert Ford was like, yes, this is who I need out in the park to basically create chaos. And I assumed that Abernathy, although I thought it was weird they didn't show him, I assumed he was one of the people that walked out of the woods at the end, along with several others. Because they made a point to show the face of the intake host that took in William, and then
they showed Clementine.
They showed Clementine, but they didn't show Abernathy, which I thought was weird. So
you have to think, if he made it out of the park, they would have shown or referenced that, I'm guessing. Banner, what do you think?
I do not think that he left the park. I agree. I think he's part of the army, the host army that's going to attack all the people. If this show, and maybe I'm reading into it too much, especially because it didn't get picked up until a month and a half into the season, for a second season, if they are planning on doing this for 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons, and it is to replace Game of Thrones, it's way too early to have a host in the real world. We don't even know what the real world is yet.
Yeah.
I think they have to explore that storyline without hosts in it before you can bring a host into it.
That's a really good point.
And I think that for the longevity of the show, you can't have anybody get out. And I think that has to be a big struggle and an overlying arc that's really started in the first season with Maeve going, I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to leave. This overlying arc that maybe in season 3, maybe 4, is when we get our first taste of the outside world.
Yeah, I want them to hide that from us, like when it takes place, as long as they can, because that can be a big reveal that they don't even have to know what the answer is right now, because they've only given us very, very small breadcrumbs. That would be something that'd be really cool, like you said, to see like way later down the road.
And I would be fine with them even next season showing us the outside world, But with the tease of different parks, we don't even know what the outside world is. So they may be showing us the outside world, but we don't know that is the outside world. And that could be a big reveal later on as well.
Worldception. That's basically what it is.
I also think it would be interesting if whatever the outside world ends up being, if in some way it adds to the show and it's not just something that's done for shock value.
Yeah,
like,
that's what you
add. Like, the theory when people are like, oh, it's happening on Mars, it's like, how does that make the show better?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make... Like, I don't understand what that brings to the table at all for the season I just watched.
Like, they could all be fucking underwater
to the story forward. It can't just be there for, like you said, the shock value. It has to add to the story.
And that's why I'm worried that they'll save, like, something like that in their back pocket till the show, jumps the shark, and then they'll be like, oh, yeah, but watch this.
When it's on the back nine.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, but now it's... You'd be like, now it's just sad that you did that.
It has to be... If they do that, it has to be timed correctly.
Yeah.
It's on the back nine. They've done a beer hole challenge, and they're no longer able to swing a club. And it's like, all right, now we're on Mars.
Half of each foursome has thrown up on the greens.
But I was closer to the hole when I threw up.
Look, that's going to break right once it hits that puddle of vomit, so just know that when you putt into it.
It's a vomit birdie.
All right. Another question that I had, and this was something that I didn't even really think about much after the show, but is Maeve, when the season ends, still being scripted by, I'm assuming, Robert Ford, who put that in her coding? Maybe you guys have a different theory, but do you think that... Because I thought that was one of the really cool scenes when Bernard said to her, have you ever asked yourself why you're doing what you're doing? She's like, no. Like, I want to do it. He's like, no, I can, like, tell you your next hour and a half of the day if you'd like to know. And she gets all pissed off.
And that's when they show the tablet, and the last step says infiltrate mainland. So if we're to think that what's on the tablet is actually what's on the tablet, if that's actually what's I guess coded in her overall directive to go do, and then she gets on the train, so she's about to follow that step, and then she says, you know what, I'm actually going to get off the train. Mm-hmm. She actually she used free will to make a decision.
Completed the maze.
Code. Right, exactly. So maybe that's what we're supposed to think. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, that's sick.
I did not. I missed the infiltrate mainland part.
I watched it twice and I didn't catch that. So I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, you have to pause on that screen. You have to be a sicko like me to catch that. So.
Are you the guy on Reddit who's been secretly screenshotting these
English
things?
Is actually
hiding in plain sight.
No, it's not me at all, actually.
I think she is being scripted. And I think it has to be Robert Ford. And the reason that I think that is she went down and she brought Bernard back to life.
Ooh, Bernard, I like that.
Yeah. So she went down into the creepy basement place where he shot himself in the head and fixed him, brought him back to life. Then later on, we see Bernard and Ford together. Ford is just another day. Like, it doesn't shock him that he sees Bernard. Like, oh, yeah, good. You're right on time. I mean, you're like 5 minutes late, but you're always fashionably late, so it's cool.
Right. Like, he fully expected that to happen. I caught that as well.
Yes,
he knew that was going to happen, so he goes, okay, Maeve is on track to do what she needs to do.
The one thing this show taught us is that everyone who thinks that they can get ahead of Robert Ford in Westworld is just going to die, because that's not going to happen. So, like, nice try.
And he's warned them as much. He's literally said on multiple occasions, like, I literally control all of this.
So stop.
Yes, I know everything that's happening at all times, so just stop.
He's like, I'm not going to lie to you and say I don't want to kill you, but I would just prefer if you would listen to me for 1 second. So this actually kind of ties into Maeve's decision at the end of the show, because she looks at the sheet of paper that she had to find her daughter, and it says Park 1, which Banner and I talked about off-air earlier in the week, obviously alludes to the fact that Westworld is probably not Park 1 of the several parks, and we see Samurai World, which I fucking loved. So her daughter's in Park 1, so how many parks do we think there are? Do we have any cool ideas of what they could be? And how could that factor into Season 2? Banner.
I think that there are at least three parks. One that pays homage to Westworld the movie, with obviously you have Westworld, you have Medieval World, and Rome World. I don't think they're going to go Medieval World and Rome World. I think that'd be a little too by the book, and this show obviously doesn't go by the book. I also don't think it's called Samurai World. I think it's like Shanghai World or Singapore World.
Is there like
Shogun World?
Ooh, that could be
Shogun?
it. In the Westworld
cool.
movie, which I think both of you tried to watch, maybe you got through it, is there like a feudal Japan one?
No.
Okay.
And it's fucking creepy. If you like horror movies, you should see it because it's more of a horror movie than anything else. I think anyway. It was fucking creepy. It creeped me out. I didn't like it.
There were some great horror scenes, by the way, in this last episode.
There were.
Like the snake tattoo chick, Armistice. She was awesome.
She had an awesome role in this episode.
Yes,
I did not expect.
Which is crazy. I didn't expect that because she
neither.
didn't have a very big role in the rest of the in the rest of the season.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was a nice.
Give me
when
more
she
of her.
bit that dude's fucking finger off, I shit myself. That shit was awesome.
Yeah, that was like.
Yeah, that was very. Go ahead. Sorry, Hornacek.
I was gonna say that it was like. You knew, obviously, when he's like taking the plastic out of her mouth. I was like, "Oh God, his finger's gonna get so bitten off."
It was a very like Hitchcock type of scene where you're like, you know it's coming, you know it's coming, you know it's coming, and there it is, and it still like scares you or shocks you. It was that was great.
Yeah.
But not to stray too far away from the question. I think my answer is gonna bum you guys out because thinking logically. I think Park 1 has to be Westworld, and that's solely for the reason that we know for a fact that Dolores was the first host, and we actually see a flashback of Arnold creating Dolores in this episode, and she's like still kind of mostly robot skeleton, and he basically tells her like, hey, welcome to the world. Or I think he actually says welcome to world. But so... Based off that, just putting the clues together, like, I think Westworld is the first park just because they've told us Dolores was the first host, and then we saw a scene of one of the two geniuses of this place build the first artificial intelligence.
Does she have to, the first time she comes into the world, though, does she have to go to Westworld?
Well, I was thinking...
My argument would be Maeve's daughter is at Park 1. What park is that? We don't know. She could be at.
Well, I think it's.
Let's call it Russia World. Is Park 1?
No,
that sounds.
And then you have Westworld is Park 2, and then you have Samurai Shanghai Wakachaka World as 3.
That was slightly racist.
That was overtly racist.
I mean, to each his own.
Continue.
But they can move hosts from this park to that park to this park to that park. We don't know when she actually got the Revenant or whatever.
Reverie.
Thank you, Reverie virus or whatever you want to call it. We don't know when that happened, so that could have been after she already left Grease World.
Yeah, I agree. I'm probably leaning towards English's theory here. The only thing I could think, and this would honestly just be a stretch that would really make no sense to do it this way, but maybe the initial like. Actual space in terms of the park where they created the first Westworld. Maybe they've since transitioned things over and said like, oh, Westworld's our most popular one. The area that we originally had isn't big enough to even support what we want to do. Let's actually move the Western one somewhere else, which again wouldn't really make any sense in the story. That would just be like really stupid exposition.
Yeah, it'd kind of be like Disneyland and Disney World. Like Disneyland was the original and it was cool, but then they realized we want to expand, so they went and bought half of Florida.
Yeah, and if they like explain that in the episode, I'd be like, okay, I'm not like trying to purchase stock in this company. Why the fuck are you telling me this? Like, oh yeah, it has nothing.
Okay, Walt.
So that was just something that I thought was a cool nod, and especially to the movie there. Number 5, the 5th question we had.
Would you guys be real quick? Would you guys be upset if we never see another world? That it was kind of just paying homage to the movie?
I would be. Yeah.
Hell yes.
I would be.
Yeah.
But I have heard people that say they just wanted to. Do you have to change the name of the show then? Like, what do you?
Nah, I think you can keep the brand and just kind of go with it. Who cares?
Delos world.
As long as it's the same through line of continuity, I don't want them to be like season 2. We're in Samurai World and it's like all new characters because that's like that's a True
don't make it
Detective
like
season
American
2
Horror
mistake.
Story or like True Detective or something like that.
Yeah.
What if like Shogun World or Samurai World is actually like just the Chinese doing the same thing? So like their Arnold and Robert Ford are just like two Chinese dudes.
So do they have like Lumberjack World and that's for Canadians?
Yes. Right, before Banner tries to offend every possible ethnicity on the globe,
are Canadians a different ethnicity?
I don't know.
They are not. They are not.
But even you asking that, I feel like discredits them.
I believe that's a nationality, which is that's also works.
Well, there are like French Canadians. Maybe that could be an ethnicity. Anyway,
the Beck world.
Another question that I had, and this is actually one of the bigger questions, is where are Elsie and Stubs? And if we think they're alive, which I do, what happens with them in season 2? I'll lead off with this one. I think they're both alive, being held captive somewhere in Westworld. And I think it would be really cool in season 2 for them to basically either be freed or escape. And they, I guess metaphorically, like come out of a bunker even, or actually even could. And they see this host rebellion and them taking over the world. And it's almost like The Walking Dead where they have to kind of try and survive in this environment. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, English.
I definitely don't think they are dead. And that's because I'm thinking logically here. They're actors that they can get back for multiple seasons. They're not Anthony Hopkins.
That's a big point.
Yeah.
They already have established their characters a little bit.
They bought low on the third Hemsworth, which, as history will tell you, is smart.
Yes. They also, I think, purposely left it kind of vague because they probably don't exactly... Like most TV shows, they have a conceptual idea. They have an idea of how they want the show to end, but they have no idea how they're going to get there. I think that's where Nolan and Lisa Joy and J.J. Abrams are with this concept. So I think the middle part is like, hey, let's end the season and let's kind of leave it really vague if, like, this handful of characters... Like, we don't even know if Tessa Thompson died. Like, we are to assume she did, but we didn't see her die.
Yeah, I hope
not.
Like
I'm pretty sure when you get shot in the spine, you're dead. But, I mean, who knows? They can
She got shot in the spine?
I didn't see that.
I'm pretty sure that she got
that chick
shot
had
in the
a
spine.
black dress on. I know the chick you're talking about.
Yeah, I thought that was a white lady in a yellow dress. I think you're just now assuming all females are the same.
Well, I don't see skin color, so I just saw a person, but I don't think it was her. I actually thought she had a darker dress on, so maybe I'll have to rewatch it.
Well,
again.
Tessa Thompson had a hideous-looking dress on. It was for the season finale. They should have dressed her up, especially for how pretty she is. Should have made her in a much more flattering dress. The dress she was in was terrible.
Yeah, can we criticize one thing? Wardrobe in this show? Oh my god.
Yeah, like, they're not winning any Emmys for that.
No.
Ugh.
So, Banner, your thoughts on Elsie and Stubs? Are they making out in a corner somewhere? Are they dead?
Oh, they are definitely naked. And they are
You actually said that, I think, every time we've asked you what's going on with them.
In all seriousness, though, I do think that they have a special relationship. You could tell when they went out to find the rogue host earlier in the season, they were getting their flirt on. They've got something.
See, I got more like a brother-sister vibe, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was wrong.
Either way, they have a closer relationship than coworkers. I think we can all agree on that. Whether it's a brother-sister thing or it is a romantic thing. I think they are together somewhere, and I wouldn't be upset if they are who go into the real world, and that's how we start to learn about the outside world outside of the theme parks.
That'd be cool. Because
obviously they kind of like what you said. They come out of this bunker. They come out of this hole. They realize, oh shit, there are robots and people fighting all over the place. This is nuts. Let's get out of here. We need to get back up. And then that's how we see them maybe going to the Delos board in Chicago and telling them, hey, this is going on, and trying to convince the Delos board that they need, machine guns and AK-47s to take these people out.
The reason that I maybe prefer a host being the first one to show us the real world is that would make it possible if they wanted to go the route of the actual world that this is taking place in is some part of a bigger reveal, then I feel like a host, like, basically they would be the narrator in this instance, or like there would be our point of view.
We're seeing it for the first time, just like the character.
Exactly. That would be a cool way to do it.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, but again, they may not even choose to do that or even know what they want to do with that yet. But it's at least in their back pocket. So I guess we all kind of agree there. They're all alive and probably hooking up. The last question that we had was, does William have a role to play in Season 2, and what is that role? And I think one of my favorite moments of the finale was the way that Ed Harris was able to pull off that look on his face when he sees the host coming basically towards the gala, and he realizes what's happening, and he pulls off that smirk of like, this is horrific and awful, and a lot of people are going to die, and this is what I have wanted for 30 years. Boehner, what do you think about William and his potential role in Season 2? He's a little fucked up. Both arms are not in good shape for him.
First off, I agree. The way that look when he gets shot in the arm, like, this robot just shot me in the fucking arm, and it fucking hurt.
And I dig it.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I want more. He said it before when him and Robert Ford were talking. He said, I want to play a game that's not rigged. I want to play a game where they can fight back and they can think for themselves. He finally is getting that game after 30 years. And I think that he has to have a role in Season 2. Maybe not make it to the end of Season 2, just because of his age and everything like that. But if we're not going to get Anthony Hopkins in Season 2, which I don't know, I think it's like a 20% chance that we do. There's a big rumor going around that the Robert Ford that was killed was actually a host, blah, 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 whatever.
Don't buy that.
I really don't want that, man.
I don't think that they can get Anthony Hopkins again for a second season. I do think they can get Ed Harris for a second season.
I don't want him to...
He confirmed. Ed Harris confirmed.
Oh, he did?
Will be in Season 2.
I didn't see that.
Okay. Awesome.
That's cool.
Jimmy Simpson will not be.
Right.
Which is no surprise to anybody. I don't see how you could have a younger William and an older William.
But I think Jimmy Simpson did a great job, so kudos to you, and I don't mean this disrespectful at all.
No, I think he did a fantastic job, and I hope he gets a lot of roles out of this.
Yeah, I was going to say, we just don't need young William in the second season.
Right. Absolutely.
English, what do you think?
English, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, I mean, with the news that Ed Harris will be back, I think we're gonna see the inner workings of the Dulles Corporation, and we're gonna see Ed Harris and Richard Gere going at each other.
Oh yeah, fan
that's
cast.
my dream.
I was gonna say, is Gere confirmed?
He's not. I'm just starting the rumor right now.
Starting it up right now.
If you see this on Hollywood Reporter tomorrow, you know what the source is. All right.
Yeah, they better give us credit for this.
I don't want the credit. I want to be unnamed source.
I want the
I'll
credit
take
then.
The credit.
The Bro Force Squad podcast. It's like, how do they know? Who are these guys?
I'll have my feet up like about damn time. Jesus.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to play a role because I think we're going to learn a lot more about the Dulles Corporation and what they intend to do with the technology. Although in the meantime, they're going to have this huge disaster to deal with where literally their entire board got slaughtered.
Yeah.
But as we learned in the season, their intentions for this, in some beautiful exposition by Tessa Thompson, their whole purpose for funding this park is not to have people come in and have sex and kill robots. It's for something else, but we don't know what that something else is. So I think Ed Harris as old William will have a huge say in that in Season 2.
I would
way too early predictions. Over under 5 episodes.
Under.
For Ed Harris?
Yes.
I say over.
Wow.
I'm gonna go push.
God, I knew you were gonna do that.
I think it's gonna be 5 episodes. I think
Over.
it's perfect. I think he's not gonna be in 2 of the first 7, and he's gonna die in episode 7.
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
I would really love to see the Man in Black in this post-apocalyptic Westworld. I would also like to see him team up with RLC and Stubs in some capacity, even if it's a situation where neither of them are honest about what they are getting out of working together. RLC and Stubs maybe could like not be aware of who he is or what is it. I mean, they'll probably know who he is because he runs the board, but maybe not of what his intentions are that he actually wanted.
We know Stubbs knows who he is because they go,
right, that's
we're going to do the explosion thing, and he goes, he gets whatever he wants.
When I say who he is, I mean that he that the Man in Black's goal was like to basically not make this happen, but to find this. So,
okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm just really curious how to find out how basically every human being at that cocktail party did not get slaughtered to death.
Yeah.
So knowing for a fact Ed Harris is back, which the way that scene was shot, the robot obviously could have shot him right in the chest, but chose to shoot him in the arm. I'm curious. I wonder if that was also part of the coding that Robert Ford planted in all of them.
And also,
do you think they're going to take any humans hostage?
Maybe.
I don't know. The main thing that I think that we're all thinking is for the waiters and waitresses working the gala, how did this affect their tips? Did people not tip them yet that night? Because that would be really unfortunate.
Yeah, there wasn't enough alcohol flowing for the tips to really start coming out yet.
They say, really, really wealthy people don't tip well anyways. That's what you normally hear, so.
Which is, it's sad. Like, that's a whole nother podcast that
just scavenge their dead bodies and steal their wallets. Done. That's the best tip you can get.
And that is a Bro 4 Squad endorsed piece of advice. All right, guys, that's all the 6 questions I had. Do we have anything else that's just lingering on our mind? Because this is the last time in an official review capacity that we will get to talk about this show. And I think we've gotten pretty much every theory that I can think of out there, but I wanted to make sure that no one is going to be kept up at night by keeping anything in.
I'm just going to say I'm really, 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 really going to miss the opening sequence. And I know I can watch it online anytime, but something about that music coming on and like knowing the show's about to start, it just
every time that piano played.
Oh,
yeah,
so good.
Got me.
Me too.
It's the same. I'm not sure if you're aware, Banner, but the guy who wrote the opening theme for Westworld, same exact composer who did the opening theme for Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. English. You're talking to the score expert here. I may or may not have both.
Say his name. Say his name. You probably not.
I may or may not have both those scores downloaded on my phone right now.
Yes.
What's the artist?
So,
what's his name? Say his
name.
name.
I don't know his name, to be honest with you. I know it's the same guy, but I don't know his name, to be honest with you.
You guys talk about it, and I'll look it up. Because now we have to give him
honestly,
credit.
it's very. I think Game of Thrones and this show have brought new light to scores.
Ramin Djawadi. There you go.
There you go. Shout out to him. Also, shout out to Geiger. We got to pour 40 out for him. He's trying to make it on the pod, but got stuck in traffic and started drinking with some bums on the side of the road.
Yeah, Matt Geiger was a huge fan of this show and really wanted to chime in. I'm sure we'll get his thoughts on the next podcast, but unfortunately was not able to join us tonight.
Back to what I was saying there real quick. I think the Game of Thrones and this show have shed some light and really brought to the forefront that great scores can be in TV shows as well. It's not just a movie genre and a movie. Great scores only come out of movies. These two shows have shown that good scores can come out of TV shows as well and be iconic.
I want this guy to do all my movies now. Like, he needs to do a Marvel movie next.
Move over, Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, sorry, bro. There's a new sheriff in town, and he works with a Nolan now too. So, look out.
No big deal.
All right, guys. As always, we appreciate you tuning in, especially throughout the course of this show. It was a blast. We appreciate everyone listening. We are the Bro 4 Squad. Check us out on Facebook, Bro 4 Squad, 3 words. Follow us on Twitter at Bro 4 Squad. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. Email us, bro4squad@gmail.com. I know English always likes to pump up our Pinterest. We always love to get good recipes on there. It
so good.
It doesn't actually exist, though.
Paper mache.
What was the over-under on paper mache references on this episode?
1.5. I still need one more.
I am Jeff Hornacek for Brian Banner, the Mad Scientist, and Alex English. Again, this has been the Bro 4 Squad. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you for Season 2 of Westworld in probably about a year and a half. Take care.
Peace out to 2018.